Okay, remember that they are changing my voice. So this video is about Jeremiah chapter 3 and chapter 4. It's like 55 verses or so altogether. And before I get into it, I'd like to remind you that they changed my voice. I'm not mentally ill. Okay? They try to provoke me. They try to do things that throw me off because they want to create a certain effect so that you listen to people who are going to bring you down instead of the Son of God. Pretty straightforward. Jeremiah 3. If a man divorces his wife and she leaves him and marries another man, should he return to her again? Would not the land be completely defiled? But you have lived as a prostitute with many loves. Would you now return to me? Declares the Lord. Look up to the barren heights and see, is there a place where you have not been ravished? By the roadside you sat waiting for lovers, sat like a nomad in the desert. You have defiled the land with your prostitution and wickedness. Therefore the showers have been withheld, and no spring rains have fallen. Yet you have the brazen look of a prostitute. The brazen look of a prostitute. You refuse to blush with shame. Have you not just called to me, my father, my friend, from my youth? Will you always be angry? Will your wrath continue forever? This is how you talk, but you do all the evil you can, unfaithful Israel. It's the title of the next section, Unfaithful Israel. During the reign of King Josiah, the Lord said to me, have you seen what faithless Israel has done? She has gone up on every high hill and under every spreading tree and has committed adultery there. I thought that after she had done all this she would return to me, but she did not, and her unfaithful sister Judah saw it. I gave faithless Israel her certificate of divorce and sent her away because of all her adulteries. Yet I saw that her unfaithful sister Judah had no fear. She also went out and committed adultery. Because Israel's immorality mattered so little to her, she defiled the land and committed adultery with stone and wood. In spite of all this, her unfaithful sister Judah did not return to me with all her heart, but only in pretense, declares the Lord. The Lord said to me, faithless Israel is more righteous than unfaithful Judah. Go proclaim this message toward the north. Return, faithless Israel, declares the Lord. I will frown on you no longer, for I am faithful, declares the Lord. I will not be angry forever. And only acknowledge your guilt. You have rebelled against the Lord your God. You have scattered your favors to foreign gods under every spreading tree, and have not obeyed me, declares the Lord. Return, faithless people, declares the Lord, for I am your husband. I will choose you, one from a town and two from a clan, and bring you to Zion. So he's basically saying, I'm going to choose part of you. Not necessarily literally one person from a tribe or two from a clan, but a part of you. And of course, I'm part Jewish. My mom is part Jewish, ever so slightly. What have you. Okay, and there's also the idea of who the story's superimposed on. So there's that side of it. So you interpret it as he's literally talking about, if you interpret it that way, the Jewish people, then I'm part Jewish, right? And that's fulfilled in that. And whoever would obey God through me. And of course, there's no Jew or Gentile, you're all one in Christ Jesus. Okay, but if you interpret it as it's superimposed on the Royal African Falcon Martial Art Order in the Igbo tribe, for example, then that's also fulfilled. It's a part of it. Okay. So we were talking about the part of it here. Okay. Then I will give you shepherds after my own heart, who will lead you with knowledge and understanding. In those days, when your numbers have increased greatly in the land, declares the Lord, people will no longer say, the ark of the covenant of the Lord. It will never enter their minds or be remembered. It will not be missed, nor will another be weeping and pleading. Okay, so my notes are a little messed up here. Okay. At that time they will call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all the nations will gather in Jerusalem to honor the name of the Lord. No longer will they follow the stubbornness of their evil hearts. We'll go over verse 16 or so again here in a moment here. Bear with me. So they're following the stubbornness of their evil hearts. In those days the people of Judah will join the people of Israel, and together will come from a northern land to the land I gave your ancestors as an inheritance, which goes back to the boiling pot, but it's the spirit of the righteous that are invading, not necessarily people's flesh. Anything that's going on in that regard is of little importance. I myself said, how gladly would I treat you like my children and give you a pleasant land, the most beautiful inheritance of any nation. I thought you would call me father, not turn away from me, follow me. Now, let me make the distinction here. What I did with my top martial arts challenge is important. Whatever goons are robbing people in the flesh outside the divine order is not important. People yoke themselves to me, okay, it's important. If they just, are some thief that God's allowing to rob people, it's not so important, right? That's not the center of the story. If you don't know that, my goodness, you need help. Anyway, I say it that way because there's a lot of smart alecks who say things in a certain way that requires that they're chastised in a way that their feeble minds understand. I myself said, how gladly would I treat you like my children and give you a pleasant land, the most beautiful inheritance of any nation. I thought you would call me father and not turn away from me, not turn away from following me. But like a woman unfaithful to her husband, so you, Israel, have been unfaithful to me, declares the Lord. A cry is heard on the barren heights, the weeping and pleading of the people of Israel, because they have perverted their ways and have forgotten the Lord their God, right? They perverted their ways. They're acting like perverts. They're perverting the course of justice. It's referring to all that, right? It talks about the mating, prostitution in its various forms. Return, faithless people. I will cure you of the backsliding. And some words probably use technology to cause me to say the word black, and there's very much racist whites, Jews, and LGBT people and frats who are using technology to interfere here. And I'm sure everyone living this time right now would believe me. There's no reason in the world not to believe me. To overkill, even if I was in Alaska, it's believable. But I'm in the heart of technology here, the heart of psyops historically in America. It's California, the most populated state, where Hollywood is, Bohemian Grove, on and on and on. Silicon Valley. Okay. So I will cure you of the backsliding. Yes, we will come to you, for you are the Lord our God. Those who obey God through me are cured, and obey God through me in a timely fashion before my flesh dies. Surely the idolatrous commotion on the hills and mountains is a deception. Surely in the Lord our God is the salvation of Israel. From our youth, shameful gods have consumed the fruits of our ancestors' labors, their flocks and herds, their sons and daughters. So they're being consumed by the shameful deities and leaders that they're following. Their souls are being consumed. They're being made, they're being ruined inside and out. Let us lie down in our shame and let our disgrace cover us. We have sinned against the Lord our God, both we and our ancestors. From our youth till this day, we have not obeyed the Lord our God. So they were not obeying God, and they are disgraced. When they say to the hills and the mountains, cover them and fall on them. Okay, the mountains are their disgrace. Their disgrace is their deity. It is their so-called high places, their hills, their mountains, their kings, their ways, their paths, their cultures, their spirits. Pretty straightforward. But going back to that verse, I think I might have said that it isn't that important. I don't remember that I'm being fumed, but it is actually very important. It will never enter their minds or be remembered. Okay, so let's go back to the beginning of the verse. Verse 16. In those days when your numbers have increased greatly in the land, declares the Lord, people will no longer say the ark of the covenant of the Lord. It will never enter their minds or be remembered. It will not be missed, nor will another one be made. At that time they will call Jerusalem the throne of the Lord, and all the nations will gather Jerusalem to honor the name of the Lord. No longer will they follow the stubbornness of their evil hearts. Okay, so another one won't be made because the ark will be in their heart, it'll be in their soul, it will be in their being. And the people who are left on the planet will be abandoned, so there won't be another ark of the Lord for them. Okay, the flesh, the world, that's a certain test. The new earth, the new heaven, which is elsewhere, that's a spiritual place, that's a different place. And there's a lot of Satanists who like to abuse kids, who like to pretend that people will be reincarnated into this world or something, but they won't. Jeremiah 4. If you, Israel, will return, then return to me, declares the Lord. If you put your detestable idols out of my sight and no longer go astray, and if in a truthful, just, and righteous way you swear, as surely as the Lord lives, then the nations will invoke blessings by him, and in him they will boast. So what do they have to do, right? They have to invoke it in a truthful, just, and righteous way. something that cannot be done after my flesh dies, right? Is it right and righteous to calculate things in a certain way, to be part of a group that's calculating and social engineering the planet and saying, okay, now we'll let them do it? Should the devil be the one who determines that? No. So it can't be done after my flesh dies. There's no other way it could be. I think it's the destiny of these people to act like complete sniveling punks in 2025 in the information age, okay? And to just ride the wave of Jewish Satanism and Gentile Satanism, and then one day say, okay, we're ready to behave now. That is sick. If you think that's how it should be, you are one sick person, very sick, very deranged, very depraved. This is what the Lord says to the people of Judah and to Jerusalem. Break up your unplowed ground, and do not sow among thorns. Circumcise yourselves to the Lord. Circumcise your hearts, you people of Judah and inhabitants of Jerusalem, or my wrath will flare up and burn like fire because of the evil you have done. Burn with no one to quench it. So in his wrath, he hands them over to the worm, to the snake, that it devours their souls forever, and the fire that is never quenched. His wrath burns like a fire. The snake burns and devours those who are being burned and devoured, figuratively speaking, and in a more serious way than actual fire can cover. Disaster from the north. Announce in Judah and proclaim in Jerusalem and say, sound the trumpet throughout the land. Cry aloud and say, gather together, let us flee to the fortified cities. Raise the signal to go to Zion. Flee for safety without delay, for I am bringing disaster from the north, even a terrible destruction. A lion has come out of his lair. Had to turn the page there, bear with me. A destroyer of nations has set out. He has left his place to lay waste your land. Your towns lie in ruin without inhabitants. So it's been described as like a lion, okay? A destroyer of nations, locusts, fire, a pot of boiling water. There's all these different descriptions and all these different angles of destruction that are taking place. The essence of a lion tearing them to pieces. The essence of boiling water cooking them. The essence of locusts destroying their crops. Where they're like, why? And so on and so forth, right? They're ruined. They're being marshaled to hell. So put on sackcloth and lament and wail, for the fierce anger of the Lord has not turned away from us. In that day, declares the Lord, the king and the officials will lose heart. The priests will be horrified, and the prophets will be appalled. Then I said, alas, sovereign Lord, how completely you have deceived this people and Jerusalem by saying, you will have peace when the sword is at our throats. At that time this people in Jerusalem will be told, a scorching wind from the barren heights and the desert blows toward my people, but not to winnow or cleanse. Yeah, that scorching wind and the boiling pot. A wind too strong for that comes from me. Now I pronounce judgments against them. So going back to what I said a few videos ago, that they're rejected silver, right? They're too wicked to have the wicked purged out. They themselves are the wicked. So the scorching wind is also to not winnow or cleanse. The fire is not to refine them and keep them in this world. Only the righteous are being refined. They're being taken from the world. The scorching wind, the fire, the pot, it's to destroy them. It's to create hell in this world. Look, he advances like the clouds. His chariots come like a whirlwind. His horses are swifter than eagles. Woe to us, we are ruined. Jerusalem, wash the evil from your heart and be saved. How long will you harbor wicked thoughts? Okay, they're harboring wicked. What is their mistake? They're harboring wicked thoughts. They're wicked. It's in their being, their plans. They plan to social engineer and follow that path instead of pick up their cross and be screened out like Isaiah 57, like Matthew 10. Their plans are pure evil. And those who are their children who ride the wave, Jew and Gentile alike, okay, are living evil lives and they're being marshaled to hell. No one should reproduce, literally, no matter what. And notice the chariots are compared to the whirlwind. He advances like the cloud. The cloud is figurative. The chariots are figurative. The whirlwind is figurative. The boiling pot is figurative. The fire is figurative. It's it's a comparison point. It's metaphoric. A voice from Dan proclaiming disaster from the hills of Ephraim. Tell this to the nations. Proclaim concerning Jerusalem. Proclaim this concerning Jerusalem. A besieging army is coming from a distant land, raising a war cry against the cities of Judah. They surround her like men guarding a field because she has rebelled against me, declares the Lord. Now, men guarding a field, what field? The Garden of Eden. The people, they're surrounded in a desert. And the people who are surrounded like guarding a field is the Garden of Eden, which is elsewhere. There is isolated kind of point in hell. The hell is isolated from the Spirit of God. That's why they're surrounding her like men guarding a field. Your own conduct and actions have brought this on you. This is your punishment. How bitter it is, how it pierces to the heart. Oh, my anguish, I writhe in pain. The agony of my heart pounds within me. I cannot keep silent, for I have heard the sound of the trumpet. I have heard the battle cry. Disaster follows disaster. The whole city lies in ruins. In an instant my tents are destroyed, my shelter in a moment. How long must I see the battle standard and hear the sound of the trumpet? My people are fools, they do not know me. They are senseless children, they have no understanding. They are skilled in doing evil. They know not how to do good. Again, I've told you many times in my videos, these characteristics are key. Don't be senseless. Okay, if you're sabotaged, then you're a wise person. If you're sabotaged for righteousness' sake, then you're a wise person who's sabotaged. But don't be a senseless fool who's made senseless from rebellion, from following the churches, the mosques, the synagogues, the government, the schools, the mentors. These people don't know what they're doing. The Freemasons, they don't know what they're doing. Don't be senseless from following idiots. Don't be senseless from being an idiot. I looked at the earth, and it was formless and empty, and at the heavens, and their light was gone. I looked at the mountains, and they were quaking. All the hills were swaying. I looked, and there were no people. Every bird in the sky had flown away, right? It's just the walking dead, those whose souls are rotten. I looked, and the fruitful land was a desert. All its towns lay in ruins before the Lord, before his fierce anger. This is what the Lord says: the whole land will be ruined, though I will not destroy it completely. Therefore the earth will mourn, and the heavens above grow dark, because I have spoken and will not relent. I have decided and will not turn back. That's why heaven and earth passes away. The essence of what God has created with the heavens and earth, before it went astray, pass away and go to somewhere else. This earth and the heavens, as it relates to the so-called heavens that they perceive to be there, their spirit, their idols that they follow in their spiritual realm, okay, they grow dark and rotten and evil. At the sound of horsemen and archers, every town takes to flight. Some go into the thickets, some climb among rocks. All the towns deserted, no one lives in them. Now, for those of you who think that this is temporary or something, go back a few verses here, okay? A few sentences, rather. It says, I have decided and will not turn back. I have decided this and will not turn back. Not only is God in the story saying that he's decided to do it, he's made it clear that he's not going to turn back. The earth will be ruined. Their offspring will be ruined. At the sound of horsemen and archers, every town takes to flight. Some go into the thickets, some climb up among rocks. All the towns deserted, no one lives in them. What are you doing, you devastated one? Why dress yourself in scarlet and put on jewels of gold? Okay, again, the harlot is wearing scarlet. The prostitute is wearing scarlet. In Revelation, scarlet, purple, what have you, in Revelation 17. So it says, what are you doing, you stupid whore? The spirit of whores and literal whores, what have you. What are you doing, you devastated one? The whole world. Why dress yourself in scarlet and put on jewels of gold? Why pretend you're important? Your jewelry is just, like a gold ring and a pig's snout. And it doesn't mean anything. It's not even that. It's a pig's snout and a pig's snout. Because the gold here stands for what they consider worldly wisdom. The jewels stand for what they consider precious. Why highlight your eyes with makeup? You adorn yourself in vain. Your lovers despise you. They want to kill you. Again, going back to how I described the ending, like Judges, right? I think it's Judges 7 or so, when they're fighting against each other for the Lord and for Gideon is what they say. And they break the jars, and there's torches, and there's trumpets, and there's chaos and confusion and darkness. And the blind are attacking each other because they don't know what the hell to do, because they're following old gay racist idiots and old racist Jews, old racist whites, old dumb token minorities, what have you. I hear a cry as of a woman in labor, a groan as of one bearing her first child, the cry of daughter Zion gasping for breath, stretching out her hands and saying, Alas, I am fainted, I'm fainting, my life is given over to murders. Now who is it talking about? Again, Galatians 4. Jerusalem in the sky is not being talked about. Jerusalem and Zion in this world is being talked about. And they even call it Jerusalem and Zion, as a lot of these people in the churches, mosques, and synagogues call it something to that effect. If not that,